Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Lowe, the Industry Partner Program Manager here at ASID. We are delighted to have you all with us for today's Partner Spotlight webinar, presented by Sherwin-Williams, a national industry partner of ASID. The Partner Spotlight webinar series is an ongoing initiative by ASID designed to provide you with the opportunity to interact with ASID industry partners, manufacturers, and industry experts in a virtual environment. Following the presentation, there will be a Q&A session where you can actively participate by typing your questions into the control panel. I will read them aloud. Additionally, at the end of the Q&A session, we will be conducting a brief survey consisting of 2 questions. Your participation and valuable feedback are highly appreciated as they will be taken into consideration for our future Partner Spotlight webinars. Today, we are pleased to have Ashlyn Bork with us.
All right. Well, thank you, Eric. Let's jump right in and get started. There we go. Thanks. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today. Before we start, we wanted to let you know that this presentation is brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Let's begin with a short video that brings our 4 palettes that we're going to talk about today to just full color life. With some sassy music to kick us off. Welcome to Anthology Volume 1, a color trend report exploring those directional shifts in the color, material, and finish landscape through a collection of 48 hues that we've organized this year by color family. New structure we have for our forecast, but as always, we want to have that goal of being that essential color reference to inspire, inform, and captivate. The design landscape evolves, we see trends emerge, and we eagerly decipher that nuanced language of color. We're going to predict those influential shades that will imbue our senses and define our aesthetic sensibilities. And we position key directional families to map out the past, current, and then that future path of hues in the coming 24 months. The overlying themes year after year link design to the natural world. We have those macro influencers of sustainability, craftsmanship, wellness, and hybrid living. And again, this year, we are going to continue to look to the earth as a source of inspiration and guidance. 2024 and 2025. It feels so futuristic, doesn't it? But literally, we are just weeks away from being almost halfway through this decade. And so we are on the brink of remarkable transformations characterized by political, cultural, and environmental shifts. And within that ever-changing framework, we're going to experience moments of deep contemplation, self-discovery, even an imperative need to act and reclaim our sense of joy. Big picture thinking. This is what helps you as designers navigate those complexities, make informed decisions, and contribute to shaping a better future through your work. One of the key aspects that will stand out is the complexity of our color palettes, showcasing a wide range of hues in various color families. So let's break down our palettes. In palette 1, we'll draw inspiration from natural elements such as water, vegetation, and air, symbolizing transformation. Moving to palette 2, last year we had I like to say vocabulary words. We get vocabulary words with these color mix presentations, but digital, so physical plus digital. We see raw earth pigments evoking that connection to technology and nature, and where we bridge the gap between our reality and the metaverse. And in palette 3, we're showing deep tones that reflect a sense of depth, sophistication, and encouraging our contemplation. And then finally turning to these soft tints to provide that gentle and soothing touch, offering respite and perhaps even moments of some serenity. Before we dive fully into our forecast, we're going to introduce a new section known as HSW Principles for Residential Design. We have an ongoing commitment to design education, tailoring these standards to each of our palettes and placing that importance on the health, safety, and welfare of individuals in their homes. And while I could say HSW does more than ensure that a space looks good, I mean, obviously we want to advance safety, welfare, the health of all the occupants, but amazingly, the aesthetics play into that too. Well, with that said, let's jump into the color forecast report. Beginning with palette number 1, our convergence of blues and greens. Material selection, tying together trend concepts and real-world applications. We've designed a flat lay for each one of our palettes with residential finishes. This one previews our first collection. And we know that blues and greens are central to the global color story of the decade, showing the importance of each one of these color groups. Anthology will examine the colors forecasted in residential interiors across the past 4 seasons, and then taking that information, projecting it into the future. So you can see on the charted graphic here, blues and greens have become very much a part of the global color conversation. In 2020, blue dominated the palette. Turn of the decade indicated wellness themes as the conversation. And we see blue that represents change. It even sparked a color of the year. 2021 maintained blue as an important color group, but with COVID, the green color family started to emerge in importance. 2022, we saw blue desaturate, take on more muted iterations, while green continued to gain momentum as the most important color of 2022. And we had those conversations about nature. That was all top of mind. This year, we see this balanced palette of blues and greens but you can see a little bit of an intensity there. And then 2024, showing that combined power of both color families, muted greens, soft melon hues, even an airy denim blue family that will carry significant influence into the second half of the decade. And so in these next few slides, we're going to break down the human response to current design thinking. We know that blues and greens hold significant importance in evidence-based design, as they've been shown to evoke positive psychological as well as physiological responses. These colors, they're known to promote that sense of calm, making them ideal for where spaces where stress reduction is important, where our emotional well-being is the priority. And that would pretty much be everywhere that we are, it feels like right now. Health-focused standards emphasize aspects such as indoor air quality, ventilation, natural light. As designers, you can incorporate these design strategies to enhance the air circulation, minimize pollutants, maximize our access to daylight. And these strategies, along with making that connection to nature, contribute to our improved respiratory health, increased energy levels, even enhanced productivity. And we all want that. Consider low VOC or zero VOC paints. These contribute to better indoor air quality and align with sustainability goals. And then green hues hold potential. As we just focus in on green for just a moment, we know they hold potential for creating peaceful, visually balanced environments. We see nature-inspired upholstery and vegetal shades to even glossy finishes within the space, maybe some intensified greens. We look at sustainable materials and finishes to offer us exciting possibilities. Integrating plants, which naturally purify our air, also taking other elements from nature, such as stone and wood, incorporating those large windows to employ biophilic design tactics and make that direct connection to nature. As we look at blue, it often associated with relaxation, Amazingly, it holds a remarkable ability to reduce heart rates, blood pressure, even body temperature. The impact extending beyond our physical realm, influencing sleep patterns, regulating breathing. Blue has been shown to influence the hypothalamus and pituitary glands, two of the major regulators with our endocrine system that can affect our sleep patterns. And even in the realm of memory, studies have shown that blue light enhances recall while also possessing antibacterial qualities. So lots of great things from blue. In 2021, we witnessed an unprecedented surge in online searches for healing methods, reflecting that prevailing need for restoration amidst the COVID anxiety. And so carefully selected shades ranging from deep navy to delicate sky blue, tapping into that psychological impact of color that fosters the sense of calm and balance within our living environment. You know, blue is the only color that stays blue, no matter moving from tint to shade. I think that's really interesting. From an application standpoint, blue is association with communication and intellectual growth. So as you're thinking through your projects, and you're probably already doing this, but it could be beneficial to learning spaces within the home, like children's rooms or offices, also promoting that sense of visual clarity, of concentration. For each of our palettes, we'll share a key color. So this one can be used as an accent or an all-over color. It's got a kind of classic coastal or maybe a casual Nordic style vibe. It's airy, it's misty hued, and dwelling where that fairest weather blue finds just that hint of a silver lining. We're taking our cues from color theory. We know that blues and greens belong in the analogous color category. And so being adjacent to each other on that color wheel, it gives them this natural affinity to promote that smooth visual flow, help make a space feel more connected and coherent. If using this approach, consider you could incorporate variations on intensity and saturation, muted or pastel shades for soft or calming effect, and then incorporating those brighter or deeper tones to add energy and interest. And then, as we know, promoting that sense of tranquility with blues and greens makes them prime for relaxation spaces such as bedrooms, bathrooms, and spas. Getting back to our safety applications, we want to use the colors in the palette to be placed strategically, enhancing the safety within the home, using lighter shades or tints on the walls and ceilings can increase the perception of spaciousness, preventing feelings of claustrophobia. We can also incorporate greenery, nature-inspired elements in the forms of plants or artwork to contribute to that visually pleasing piece of the environment that also gives us a feeling of safety and comfort. Incorporating watery or vegetal shades and tints and material applications such as furniture, textiles, decorative accents, we can create spaces that foster harmony and soothe our souls. As we look at these variations since 2020, we've seen that grays have fallen off the chart a little bit, but more to come on gray a little bit later in the presentation. But some of our hues, like a color of the year for 2022, advanced from a mid-range hue to one of our top colors 2 years running. So just out of curiosity, if you can put in the chat, how many are currently using blues and greens in existing or planning on them for future projects? Be curious to know. We hope to have shown that incorporating these variations of blues and greens and interiors that can have many benefits promoting our health, our focus, and our restoration. The collection is universal in appeal, making for an inspired palette to help us thrive. And we know that they're just soothing colors. So moving to this section, prepare for an exhilarating and dynamic voyage through a collection of captivating slides that we call our gallery. These slides add a layer to the story that would be impossible for me to talk through in under an hour. And those galleries exploring that diverse environment, creators, visionary artists, designers, who are all at the forefront of contemporary design landscape. Please enjoy the journey. Wait for it. All right, and that concludes blues and greens. Apparently, we need new streetwear, kicks, and watches. And I hope you loved all the things. Our next palette is number 2, the poetry of reds and purples. This collection, it is all about layered comfort, that material story, weaving together a strong overall color direction that is balanced by warm neutrals. Reds growing ever spicier, purples becoming more prominent, and both finding alignment with the resurgence of near brown hues and a palette that tips just slightly toward that muted terracotta and beige. This is a splendid selection of botanical and mineral tones, ranging from smoldering reds, sifted sands. There's a shock of lively coral and pink, enriched by petal soft purples, and the colors of a luminous sunset. Those are always great. And so just warming to us, right? In that color map, we see this strong transitional landscape of mineral red in various ranges, energetic pinks and corals. This warmth we expect to continue beyond 2024. And then similarly, incremental variations on purple, spanning from soft periwinkle, deep berry tones that are rising with a strong impact on design trends. In 2020, we saw terracottas starting to transition as Japani and Scandinese trends came onto the scene. The 2019 color of the year was a clay color, adding heat to that color conversation from just that gray conversation we had of those past seasons, more than full decade. 2021, we maintained warmth is rising, starting to see the importance of purple with technology-inspired violets. And then 2022 took a turn in natural neutrals, nature-inspired browns and earth tones, with just that very subtle nod to a muted lilac. This year, we've mapped a significant rise in red, bright mineral hues, with an energy around the care culture and natural neutrals. And then moving into 2024, showing the combined power of both color families, this warmth will continue with a pressure point on pink. You guessed it, Barbie's influence. And so let's break down that human response in the next few slides. Red, the most identifiable and expressive of color families, it has timeless appeal. It's been historically valued for its dramatic attributes and its consistent assertion against other colors. So after this period we've had for, I would say, the last decade of quieter neutrals and cooler tones, there has been a resurgence in the interest in red. It's been found to increase heart rate, evoke feelings of excitement and energy. Maybe some of you have already had lunch because it's going to excite your appetite as well. Brown and terracotta, they offer that humble and warm neutral option for interiors, providing earthy balance to those more vibrant tones, connections to themes of authenticity, craftsmanship, and then research showing us that brown elements in design, such as wood finishes or earth tone accents, can evoke feelings of stability, making them ideal for creating third place or communal interiors. As well as, I mean, they're just nice and residential too. But third place, it often refers to a concept from sociology. I don't know if you've heard of it. It categorizes spaces where people spend time outside their homes. So home is first place, work is second place. And these third places are typically like social environments, like cafes, libraries, community centers, maybe ASID meetings where people gather, they interact, and they build connections. And they play that crucial role in fostering community and belonging. You might consider cultural preferences and associations with warm colors. Different cultures may have varying interpretations of color meanings, but we can dive into that for another day. Using red hues, particularly mineral tones, encapsulates the need for a more affectionate, caring, and loving culture. Prioritizing needs and preferences of the residents, consult with them to understand their color preferences and comfort levels with warmth. Then you're probably already having those conversations with your clients, but that's just validation that you should be having those conversations. And then out of curiosity, I know you can't raise your hand, you can put it in the chat though. Have you seen this shift to warmer hues, and how are your clients responding to that? I'd be really, really, really curious to know about that. And we kind of talk about it maybe in those few minutes at the end. Our key color, this rusty red, it's used as a new neutral that communicates authenticity, quiet luxury, and a return to classic design. Oh, I love that Angela said yes. She's seeing that shift to warmer colors. In trend language, we are tracking the resurgent focus on restraint and practicality and seeing that rise in elemental neutrals, which connects to lifestyle choices around the pursuit of rest and balance. And finally, purples in the forecast. It's one of my personal favorite colors. I was thinking we would see this really explode after we lost Prince in 2016. I know that, pop star icon, but, purple's such a great color. It's regal, it's majestic. It brings an element of magic into our spaces. And it can also foster creativity, awaken our senses, allowing for intuitive observations and insights. We want to recognize the emotional impact of warm colors by specifying those hues that align with the desired emotional response in the space. So thinking of how you want people to feel when they walk in. And that could apply to commercial, certainly as much as residential too. Dark and rich purple tones employed evoke that luxurious aesthetic. On the other hand, pastels can be chosen to create calming, tranquil environments. Soft and gentle hues are ideal for spaces where decompression is desired. I have a friend who, after a serious illness, created a meditation space in her home, doing some softer hues there just as a place of escape. Maybe your clients are asking you for similar spaces, or maybe that's the whole vibe they want in their home when they can come home and decompress. Light tones, for example, pastels, colors with low saturation, used strategically in spaces to enhance our perception of natural light. And the resurgence specifically of brown, red, and purple color families, it's seen as a reflection of design principles of human-centric design, also known as user-centered design. It's really taking that approach for designing not only environment spaces, but products and services involving the understanding of behaviors, motivations, even the challenges of the end users, and then designing solutions that cater to these specific requirements. I think that's one of the things I love most about this, the A&D community, is that you guys solve problems for people and create better lives. And that's just so heartwarming. It's so great to be a part of this community. Delving deeper, muted shades of red establish a connection to the nourishing qualities found in natural clays, these baked pigments. We create a narrative that feels biophilic, it's heartening, it's familiar. Warm colors ensure that they're chosen to be accessible for everyone, including those with visual impairments, using sufficient contrast between the colors for readability that will contribute to wayfinding as well as viewing objects within the space. Also, we can incorporate these warmer hues into sustainable design practices using natural materials like wood and cork. Also, for lessening environmental impact, promoting a connection to nature, we can look at passive solar design techniques, these cozy hues complementing the passive heating strategies such as absorbing and retaining heat, lessening the need for our heating systems and saving energy. And then, of course, we know LEDs save so much energy, but remember when you're designing with warmer colors that you also want to have an appropriate Kelvin lighting temperature there, such as 2700 Kelvin, to render these colors to create the most inviting atmospheres possible. And so, wondering about reactions to the Barbie effect. We had the big movie release this summer, 2023, that created quite a buzz on pink interiors. So as I've been giving the presentations, asking about pink, we know that tweens and teens, that's a normal demographic to ask for pink in their spaces, but are you seeing requests for people outside of that? I've been getting some really interesting responses for that, but curious what this audience has to say on that pink too. And now let's jump into the gallery for reds and purples. There she is. Interesting. So in summary, Incorporating natural materials can reduce environmental impact. And then when you combine them with these earthy hues, we can foster spaces that feel grounded and inviting. Our next palette is number 3, a gathering of deeps and darks. Deep tones can transform spaces, providing that unique sensory experience to engage the occupants on multiple levels. And we have careful selection and sourcing of materials in these hues to create spaces. I know you guys do this so expertly every time, that are stunning, that resonate with the people who are enveloped in them. So creating that sense of intimacy, drama, timeless elegance. Deep, dark, moody colors offer a rich palette in which to work from. A world of quiet mystery and fascination await. Deeply saturated dark tones, they are gathering momentum as a means of submerging our spaces in this enveloping calm. We see earth-inspired warm browns, burgundies, mossy greens, volcanic grays, and velvety midnight hues that draw us deeper into the recesses, darker recesses, with that sense of restrained power and intensely gratifying solace. In our color map, we see sophisticated color direction emerging. A compelling story. These deep hues have become that counterbalance to brighter trending hues and even to our traditional concepts of sanctuary. The importance of this chromatic intensity is primed to continue, as it allows the eyes to rest and the mind to feel at ease in times of rapid change. 2020 was a subtle showing, warm and cool ranges of deep tones, reacting to the conversation on wellness themes and balance. For 2021, forecasted hybrid work and sanctuary in reaction to the restrictions at the time. In 2022, nature's influence saw deep organic undertones emerging. This year, we've mapped out the rise of mineral hues and warm undertones, even in these darker shades. And 2024 shows a combined force of deep tones in a full spectrum range of undertones. And those are going to continue their high contrast values into the 2025-2026 seasons. Did you know in election years, darker tones or colors do tend to get darker, and we are coming up on one of those. In the next few slides, we'll break down that human response as we have for our other palettes. These colors, just by enveloping us, they can encourage introspection. They're less visually stimulating, turning our focus inward. Dark colors visually recede. You guys, I'm not telling you probably anything you don't know, but can create the illusion of reduced space. So for larger rooms, that helps to create that more intimate atmosphere. Smaller spaces, though, depending on the vibe you want in that space, darker hues may make the room feel oppressive or cave-like. So understanding the impact of dark colors, how to manipulate spatial and visual perception of a room, as you all do expertly, is going to be paramount to your success. And I'm sure that it always is. And we see the impact of mood and ambiance in the spaces in contrast to lighter colors that tend to lend us an airier atmosphere. So excessive darkness in a space, you're going to need adequate lighting. Because if you don't have that, of course, it can feel very heavy. And of course, striking the right balance is key. From that HSW perspective, designing spaces using these moody hues can provide privacy and for your clients, even a personal retreat. These spaces feel opulent, low chroma, saturated earthy tones. They soothe the soul and lend a rich touch to personal spaces. As the world becomes more connected, globalized, we see this increasing need to express our own identity, our own personal style. And so dark and mysterious hues can deliver a captivating canvas for self-expression, allowing you as designers to infuse interiors with a sense of drama, sophistication, maybe even intrigue, maybe even incorporating that, hidden passageway behind the bookcase or something. I was a huge fan of Nancy Drew as a kid, but, incorporate some of that fun, more mysterious stuff too, if you're going to go this direction. Nutshell brown. That is our key color for this palette. It's a bronze tone. It has inherent warmth, tactility, connecting to those themes of authenticity and craftsmanship. It's an important color for classic style. Statement pieces can be used to add gravitas to modern interpretations. It's already prominent in wellness and hospitality design. We're also going to see it expand into living spaces, beauty packaging, and personal tech products. Let's talk again about human-centric design principles. An important consideration in interiors, regardless of whatever color scheme you're going with. So layering those dark colors, allowing them to recede or advance, and creating depth in the space. You can do that, and you're probably already doing it, but slightly lighter shade on moldings or trims, but providing those subtle layered effects by use of color, perhaps even sheen. Adequate lighting, essential when using dark colors. We want to create a space that promotes our overall well-being, and since we're kind of creatures of light, we want that in our spaces too, even if we want maybe something a little more dramatic and moody. But using your layers of lighting, recessed lighting, wall sconces, table and floor lamps to alleviate darkness, promoting brightness and safety for your moody abode. Contrast to lighter elements is essential to maintain balance in deep tone spaces. You can allow for breaks in the dark colors using artwork, mirrors, lighter colored furnishings and flooring as shown as examples here. You don't want the space to feel overly heavy or oppressive. I know we're past Halloween, and so reminder that you're making those spaces sophisticated and moody and not necessarily something for Wednesday Addams. And we know that color is not a one size fits all. It's important to consider the emotional impact that these colors might have on the individuals. Some people love the moody darkness within that color value in their spaces, promoting that sense of security. But others may associate the darkness with negative emotions, feelings of confinement. So again, understanding the psychology of a color is key to creating a space that supports your client's emotional well-being. And then deeper tones, careful considerations to choice of materials and finishes. Selecting materials with low VOCs emissions promotes a healthier indoor air quality. You can opt for more durable, easy to clean surfaces because we know darker colors tend to hide dirt better. So want to maintain cleanliness and hygiene in the space. Also utilizing eco-friendly and sustainable materials whenever possible supports our environment and aligns with wellness principles that we want for our clients. Darker tones should not compromise the functionality or safety of a space, especially with task lighting. Kitchens, home offices, you don't want a lot of eye strain from looking at, a computer in a really dark space. Of course, kitchens, we're doing cutting with knives and things like that. So safety is the utmost importance. Also proper consideration of ergonomics, clear pathways, well-placed handrails, non-slip surfaces to ensure the overall safety and well-being of the occupants. And how are you liking these dark colors? Would love to hear in the chat. Let's jump right into our gallery for palette number 3. right. And that deliberate use of light and shadow ignites our senses and offers us a way to create a sanctuary, offering haven for self-discovery. Our final palette, and I love that you're loving that. And yes, to your point about cloudier or more overcast areas, at least we have other palettes in which to work from. So, but love the feedback. Luxury material sourcing in whites and tinted hues. This is far from simplistic or a monochromatic approach. We can consider thoughtfully the quality, texture, tone, context, enhancing our spatial perceptions and highlighting the craftsmanship, sustainability goals. We have lots of possibilities with this palette. This really signifies a starting point for many of your designs. A trend, as the trend cycle develops, we're seeing more soulful, stabilizing whites, offering us counterbalance to the starker predecessors in this sort of whites movement. Layering white becomes a new method for creating richness in modern interiors. And we see a rising steadily since 2020 anchored whites to create that sense of diaphanous stillness in our interiors, realigning from the nature-inspired macro influencers earlier this decade, into the introspective and health and wellness point of view for 2024 and beyond. Getting to our color map. 2020 was balanced with warm and cool undertones in white, sharing color space. 2021 neutralized as COVID's hygiene focus became the global palette cleanse. Last year saw Earth's influence encouraging that warmer direction, that creamier undertone in the white hue group. This year we stalled on the light conversation in favor of those deeper hues and more contrasted tones. But in 2024, we expect to see a hashtag whiteout as you as designers are looking for that more nuanced aesthetic in response to global's disruptions. We see these pale, clean, very soft palettes emerging. So let's dig into the human response and design thinking. We know that these tints offer more reflectance of light, bouncing it around the room to create an airy atmosphere, visually expanding our spaces, and particularly beneficial for smaller residences or units where we want to maximize space. We also know that they contribute to energy efficient design practices, reflecting more light, reducing the need for excessive artificial lighting during the day, especially as we move to exteriors. They reflect more sunlight, absorb less heat, depending on the climate in which you are. But that can also help in passive cooling strategies for homes, especially in warmer or hot climates. In specific areas of the home, staircases, hallways, we know brighter spaces enhance visibility and can reduce the risk of accidents. White's timeless. It gives us versatility in design, that blank canvas that can be easily paired with various color schemes, patterns, textures, offering very longevity in that design appeal. It's the cornerstone of minimalist design, simplicity. Those clean lines are taking center stage. Undertones can sometimes cause frustration when selecting white colors, and so curious to see if you guys are having frustration in that, or if you've really got a good, you're really dialed into white undertones, and if that's never an issue for you. Let us know in the chat. An interior design contrast ratio pertaining to the difference in light reflectance between two surfaces or colors. If it's a high contrast ratio, we know there's significant difference between those lightest and darkest colors, whereas low contrast indicates minimal differences. As I mentioned earlier, for staircases, especially having that clear contrast between steps, improving readability, reducing the risk of trips or falls. If you're designing for elderly residents, people with visual impairments, we might want to have a higher contrast ratio. And yeah, Shelley, I know what you mean. It's a hard color to specify at times. But for those with visual impairments, improving that spatial readability can really be critical. But achieving the balance is important. Too much contrast can make the space feel very disjointed and chaotic, while too little might render it lifeless. I told you we get back to gray, and so this soft gray with its warmth and versatility epitomizes quiet elegance and simplicity. Gray making a whisper of a comeback as a barely there neutrals shift back into interiors. And we know that white holds significance in health, safety, welfare. We have a association with cleanliness, with purity, to positively impact the living environment. It becomes an ideal choice for spaces where hygiene is paramount. We see dirt much more readily on white or lighter tints, and to prompt us to maintain that higher level of cleanliness. And also using higher quality products, flat finish and paints, not generally known for their washability, and in fact, quite the opposite. However, you can upgrade to higher quality products that do have a washable flat to maintain a cleaner home and repaint less often. And we know delicate neutrals, they nurture us on our mind as we view them. They reduce visual clutter, create that soothing environment that helps support our well-being. Maximizing natural light within the space, kind of going back to that light, airy space enhances visual appeal. It promotes our circadian rhythms, energy levels, and our overall health. And with just that hint of color, we create the illusion of space, openness, freedom. We'll mention low VOC products again in relation to improving indoor air quality. And because this presentation isn't just about paint, it's about every material and finish that you specify. You know, VOCs come from all type of building materials. They compromise indoor air quality, leading to respiratory issues, allergies, other health problems. So if you look to specify low VOC products, including paint or other building materials, you can reduce these risks. I'm hoping this is the prettiest HSW presentation you've ever seen too. And just by incorporating this very versatile, this ethereal palette, we can focus on health, safety, and welfare, creating spaces that promote cleanliness, visual clarity. We have natural light optimization, promoting our positive mood and our emotional well-being. Enjoy the gallery for palette number 4. All right, and so that's it. By the way, slides aren't just for children's rooms. I saw an IG image that had the slide from the second floor to the first floor. That would encourage them to bring their laundry down, right? Refreshing clean tints balanced with pure whites, reflecting transparency, clarity, and new beginnings.
As mentioned, we're now going to proceed to the Q&A session. If you have a question, kindly utilize the Q&A button on the platform's control panel. All right, first question, are you ready to go?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. All right, how do you come up with the forecast?
Well, that's a great question. So our director of color marketing, Sue Wadden, leads a team of design and color experts within Sherwin-Williams to take a look globally, nationally, regionally at color and design, and then we create a new CEU every year. So it's just a really amazing process.
All right, next one. Where can we find the Colormix swatches and the complimentary kit?
swcolorforecast.com. And then someone from our team will be reaching out to get whatever tools or resources you want in your hand, including the forecast.
All right, terrific. This is interesting. You are a divisional designer marketing manager. What does that mean?
So there we have 5 divisions within Sherwin-Williams on this architectural side on our stores group. And so we have 4 divisions in the US and 1 in Canada. And my counterparts and I lead teams of designer account executives who support residential designers, architects, interior design students for our color tools, so our color sample kits, fan decks, etc. We also can help you with product information or specifications, and then continuing education, and thus supporting your projects as it relates to paint. We also support interior design students. One of my most favorite things. Yeah. Separately too, I might mention we have account executives who support commercial firms if your firm happens to be commercial. So
thanks, Ashlyn. And actually, to build off that last question, last one here, how does one find their designer account executive for Sherwin-Williams?
Great question, Eric. Yeah, you can just Google DAE or designer account executive Sherwin-Williams, and we have a whole list on our website. That will pop up. We're categorized by state, so no matter where you are, there is someone there to help serve you. Yeah, so we love supporting our designers.
Great, thank you. On behalf of ASID, I would like to extend a big thank you to our ASID industry partner, Sherwin-Williams. We also extend our thanks to all of you who joined us for the Partner Spotlight webinar this week. A recording of this event will be sent to you in the coming days. Please don't forget to complete the survey at the end of the webinar. Your feedback is highly appreciated. We hope to see you again at our next ASID Partner Spotlight webinar. Thank you.